Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm in my mysterious, dark, mysterious mode. And I'm back with these lovely ladies, Dr. Melissa and Lisa, and we are talking today about wisdom of the ancients, the secret key to your success. I am the Ascension Coach, James Valentine. I help people connect with higher states of consciousness, align with their higher selves, and discover their soul's purpose so that they can live a life of fulfillment, love, and abundance. And as always, I'll turn it over to Dr. Melissa.
Absolutely. So I am the empathy queen. And what I do is I teach leaders how to use their EQ through empathy to be able to increase innovation, productivity, and profit. And you know what? It really works.
Our intros are getting shorter and shorter each week. That's hilarious. I'm Lisa. I help people become limitless. The end.
Drop the mic.
That's all I need to say, really, isn't it? It's just like, wow.
Yeah. No. What else do you need?
Oh, sorry.
That's it. Show's over. We'll see you next week.
That's it. We'll see you next. So we are talking, and if I'm correct, Lisa, did you come up with this topic today?
No, I did not.
That was Dr. Melissa? Yeah.
I thought it was you initially, James, but I'm so proud of you, Melissa. That's so cool.
She snuck one in on us.
Like, you're walking in our woo land.
Yeah, that's what made me think it was you, and no doubt it made you think it was me. But we're gonna hop on this with kind of letting you kind of lead this off, Dr. Melissa.
Absolutely. You bet. So, and that's kind of what, okay. So first of all, I think it's a badge of honor that I was just kind of like the international woman of mystery and you guys had no idea. So I actually think that's pretty cool. I'm kind of all over that.
Yeah.
But that's why I picked it, because I think that it really does kind of speak to what all three of us do. Because it's kind of like this idea that everything old is new again. And I know that especially with what I do, to be in the leadership realms and with the leadership books and all of this kind of stuff, it's always like brand new way, different way of thinking. This has never been done before. 5 easy steps, blah, blah, blah. But the things that really work, hey, Jen, are the things that actually have been done for a long time. So when we're talking about empathy in leadership, this actually goes all the way back to the ancient Greeks. I mean, in 400 BC, when Plato asked, can virtue be taught? And they had empathy in as part of this. And this is the exact same question I'm asking. Can I teach this? Can people do this? And even back in the ancient times, they said, yes, this is part of what we do as part of our, basic humanity for most people. Even back then, they recognized that there are a few fluky people out there who just don't necessarily embody it. But in the time of the ancient Greeks, they could send the psychopaths out to go to war because they made fantastic soldiers because they didn't really care what they did. It doesn't work so well in modern times because, we don't necessarily want to go to war with our neighboring homeowners association. It's just kind of a bad idea. But
I'm sorry, Dr. Melissa. I'm trying to hold it together. Watching Lisa trying to hold it together.
Hang on, I'll just drop a bomb. Send all the psychopaths out to war. I mean, that is just beautiful. That is, oh my gosh.
Please finish, Dr. Melissa. I'm apologizing for both of us. That was a good one.
No, if you're laughing, then I'm doing good work because it's memorable. So that's fine by me. All good by me. Because it is, I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's laughable, but the way everybody's like new, fancy, different, blah, 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 and it's like, no, this stuff goes all the way back to like the dawn of time. We figured out pro-social behavior because if we all killed each other, there'd have been no humanity left. So end of story. But by having empathy and actually being able to bond together and do these pro-social behaviors, suddenly you're able to have the human race. Surprise!
Just reading Jason's comment.
Yes.
That's it. That's it.
Don't
That's
tempt me,
it.
Jason. I'll do it too. I
I'm
will.
crying.
I've always said about Dr. Melissa that you've always had the best one-liners. Like you've always had like the same, and I'm psychopaths at war. Even though it's a true thing, it's right there with it. I love it. I love it.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Next.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna let Lisa go to get so I can get time to get myself together.
Okay. Give me 5 seconds. I need to grab one more book out of my library.
I was going to see if her finger was going to stay there, even though she backed up. She's going to be like a plastic man.
Right, exactly. That's what I was expecting. Like, how long does that arm go?
Yeah, right?
Lisa was like, "Oh,
all right. You should see my table of props here.
I love it. I love it.
All right. First of all, I'm going to start with this. I bring this out almost every week. It's my plastic brain. And that's a really good point, that our brain is plastic. It's neuroplastic, which means that it's changeable. And so I think that is really foundational in what we're trying to teach here, is that I was hoping that was going to happen as well. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading that comment there. Is that life is a collection of data, correct? Like, we're pretty well born with an empty vessel, and it's life experiences that fill it up. And then we have very unique beings that walk amongst us in this. Yes, we are talking about neuroplasticity. I won't go into epigenetics today. I'll leave my pointy hat on the side. But that's my medical scientist hat, by the way. So I'm going to just name a few people here of our modern world that I believe that there are ancients and sages who walk amongst us every single day. And we're not really thinking of them in that light. So I'm going to go woo on you for my section. Psychopaths out of war. See, I was the child of a psychopath, and so there's a lot of, the term black comedy, meaning that the dark comedy. And so I also grew up well, I didn't grow up in it. I was a medical professional for quite a long time, and you become very disconnected to death and mortality and morbidity and all those, and tragedy and the human suffering. And so when you dropped that, Melissa, all I saw were people running down a hill in white jackets yelling, because that's a story that my partner Brad told, is that because he's sort of out there. He has quite an incredible spectrum brain, and he's very active. Some people would call him ADHD. And his friends, as a joke, drove to the local psychiatric facility, dropped him off, and then drove away. I know you can't see the funny side of this, but Brad's standing on the perimeter, and he's watching all of the people running down the hill in white jackets, yelling and playing. And so that was a real sidestep there. That's why I just cracked up, because that's all I could see. So we think of people like Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Desmond Tutu, Dalai Lama, Nelson Mandela, even people like Rosa Parks, the people who have literally made a shift in humanity, I believe, are
We are doing we are in our front mode today, actually. I'm trying to be all subtle. I'm trying to be subtle and just okay. clearly not working.
Meanwhile, Lisa's talking about mentally ill people running down a hill in white jackets, waving their arms around. we got it all today. I've read the Tao Te Ching. I read a book many years ago. Actually, as a teenager, I was given a book called Ancient Egypt, and it was all about the ancient gods. Incredibly fascinating. And you know, whoever's mind, I can't even remember the author, went to that place to write that book, they went to that place. You know, it's really quite incredible. Oh, Melissa.
Yay, the Tao of Pooh.
Great wisdom in this book.
Yes.
And
nice.
The monk who sold their Ferrari, Robin Sharma.
Yeah.
This is really talking about the great sages and how somebody was on their journey to enlightenment. We don't really understand that we have all of the tools and the people in our world right now to help us advance to much higher levels of consciousness. And James can have a field day on that. Think and Grow Rich.
Classic.
Look at the age of it. The pages are yellow. and in like the people that they talk about in this book is absolutely incredible. They knew something. They were connected to something higher. And then Napoleon Hill made it his quest to put all that information together. By the way, this old piece of paper here, by the 1st of July 2014, we'll have in our possession, blah, 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 our first check of $20,000, and it will continue to grow to 30,000 and beyond. That actually happened. So when you actually apply all of the wisdom of the ancients, then you can actually have quite an incredible life. Becoming supernatural.
Oh, yeah.
I've read all of Joe Dispenza's books.
Yeah.
And when you apply tools that people give you, you can go beyond 3D and have quite an incredible life. Now, I'm going to show you my last little prop. I'm sort of not really saying very much here, apart from be a student. If you want to ascend to, there's your word, James. If you want to have a magnificent life, have magnificent health, wealth, joy, abundance, you have to shift from the current state you're in. You have to elevate, you have to grow, you have to expand. You have to literally go beyond your 3 dimensions and become more mind than matter. And most of us are so consumed by 21st century living and living in the hormones of stress that our energy field is so contracted that we don't have the space to expand our mind. And that's a choice. That is a choice. I'm going to lean in and say it again. That's a choice. So finally, I'm going to, before I hand it over to you, James, I'm going to, this beautiful rattle was actually given to me on my birthday 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. It's a shaman rattle. My partner had it handcrafted especially for me. It blew me away. Now, for all those people who don't understand this, and I've just made your eyes roll back in your head because it's so woo, it's unbelievable. When you really actually break this down, there are the 5 elements. People think there's 4. There's actually 5. We have the, do you mind if I take a moment to explain what this is?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay. So we have the earth, which is the stick. The sun's coming in here, the stick. By the way, these beautiful purple feathers. Hang on, the sun's just a little bit annoying there. These, that didn't help. Got purple feathers. I don't know if you can see that. That's actually from a real bird. They haven't been colored.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we've got the stick is the earth. We have the water is actually, this is kangaroo skin. I'll put on this side. And there is the stones. They're actually amethyst crystals. When you rattle them, they create fire. So that's the other element. There is air within that as well. And when you rattle it and rattle outside, you're displacing air. But there's also space. Space is actually the 5th element. And we don't think about that. Everything exists in space. We have cavities in our body. We have space in there. But moving right along, the symbol on there is actually a power symbol. And the colors, because Brad was asking me all these weird questions. I knew he was cooking up something. I had no idea this was it. And the lady who made this is a local lady, and she had just gone to Mexico and been in rituals and also learnt how to make these directly from shamans. And so, I've just got goosebumps. And so the power, like the meaning, the symbolism behind this, and amethyst is also like representing the crown chakra, the colors, the power, the opening to source. And so this, to me, had actually very divine timing as well. We don't understand the power in the universe that is actually at our fingertips all of the time. And when you embrace the wisdom of the ancients, you can actually live way beyond a life of suffering, is what I'm going to say right now, because that's the state most people live in, living in quiet desperation of some kind. And just to finish, the secret. If you watch that documentary, It goes for about 90 minutes. There's a couple of pieces missing in it, but all of those people were applying the wisdom of the ancients and put it into a documentary that then went a little bit crazy and out there, and people started to monetize it, which was sort of like blasphemy with what they were doing to it. But, you know, the whole concept is actually very real. If I can read a book and generate income by setting a goal, then anybody can do that. Now, over to you, James.
I love all of that, and I hope I remember, because I've had the two of you always spark certain thoughts, and you brought out the book that I wanted to touch on as it relates to the wisdom of the ancients, and not just that Napoleon Hill book. Even you know what, I don't have that, but the Tao Te Ching is my favorite spiritual book.
Yeah.
So I'll have to get the Pooh version, but but referencing the science, not the science, but the Think and Grow Rich. He talks about a practice in there where we get the term mastermind, where he envisions himself at a table with all the great thought leaders, or for the sake of this thing, it could be the ancient leaders that resonate with you, and so whether that's a Dr. King or Mother Teresa or a Plato, whose name I heard mentioned, we have the ability to tap in to those consciousness, that level of consciousness, because there's only one consciousness that we all are the expression of. And so Christ consciousness, we talk about Christ consciousness being that consciousness that Jesus had. So through consciousness, and this is what Napoleon Hill for me was really talking about and explaining, we have the ability to tap into many of the ancient leaders and their wisdom. And I love how he gave the example of just asking questions around this round table of great masterminds and receiving insight. And so kind of, if you want to share in the comments, you can, but have you ever thought about the person that inspired you the most, getting into a quiet place and imagine having a conversation and allowing yourself to be open to what comes in that moment? For me, that's what, and I would encourage anyone to do that. And just whether you share later, what you experienced, or whether just for your own personal practice, seeing what comes out of that, because I'm confident you will receive a solution, an answer, an insight, a revelation that will cause you to know that came from Plato, that came from Socrates, that came from whoever, that came from Napoleon Hill. And so when we talk about the secret key to your success, it's your ability to tap into these levels of consciousness that are always around us, that's always available, that's in us, and so forth and so on. So that's what comes up for me when I think about the wisdom of the ancients, that we always have access in consciousness to all the great minds throughout all of history.
One that I haven't necessarily heard yet either, but that I personally am really interested in is the Abrahams and Esther Hicks, where I mean, she was directly talking to the ancients.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 Good stuff.
That's the woo is you guys that's your arena. So I'm not going to go any farther than that. But yeah.
But that's still very profound. That's still very profound. I just said that's still very profound. What you said is just another great example of this. And even, another point I was thinking is we don't often think of this consciously, but when we're reading a book, or we're watching the SuperGenius Masterminds, or we're on YouTube University, when you understand that everything is energy, which is something that Napoleon Hill actually had in his book, that was taken that I don't know if they decided it was too woo or too strong, but I think the word vibration was taken out of Think and Grow Rich, but he clearly had an understanding of it. But where I'm going with this is a book is energy. This that we're experiencing in this moment is energy. Whether you're watching something on YouTube University is energy. And us being also an energetic being or energetic presence, when you read a book and when you really study a book, I think that's a better term, not just reading it, but when you take the time to go over a book, you are now interacting with the energy of that author. You are now, that's called quantum entanglement. You are now entangling your energy with that. That's why you can read a book, and even as I'm listening to these ladies, I get a spark because my energy is now entangled with their energy, and now that's building inspiration in me. That's creating. And so even when you think about the ancient leaders or those people that really have resonated with you, when you pick up their books or their stuff or whatever, read, look at their videos, and you really take the time to contemplate it, meditate on it, you are now entangling with that energy. They are becoming a part of you. And, that wisdom now springs forth in your own words, in your own interpretation. So it's always available for us at every single moment.
Yes, and that is where that quantum aspect comes in as well, James, is that it removes all space and time. So you're connected to that energy source, whether it's from the past, as in the person is no longer around, but the energy is still within the writings of their book. And I love the fact that you also said in a meditative state, and that just could be sitting quietly, is having a conversation with somebody who inspires you. And to me, that is almost having counsel with your guides. And because we all through, whether it be silent prayer or just desperation of crying out into the universe, is asking for that divine wisdom to come and help give us the next step. Show me the next step. Show me a solution of the right pathway I need to take. And I think all three of us, and even all of the people listening, we've all been in the situation where either somebody has said to you or you have said to them that, oh, I was just thinking about this. I really needed to hear this, or I really needed to get that diet, or I needed to, whatever. So when you're open to receiving, there's the big key. The master will appear in some way, shape, or form, whether or not it's an ad you see, whether or not it's a message that comes into your inbox, whether or not it's a live stream that you see, whether or not it's someone that knocks on your door, because I used to go door to door in my previous business, and people would say, oh, I was just thinking about this. And so, hello, well, here I am. And so, that, and Melissa, with the Abraham Hicks, you will, by studying that process of, how Esther really is a medium, we all have that ability to channel.
Yeah.
We just don't become open enough, and our brain, not our mind, gets in the way.
Yeah.
You got about 3 seconds before that logical brain steps in and says, that's a load of crap.
Well, and she didn't either. She was older before she realized she could do it. So
yeah. Oh, never too old. Never too old for anything.
No.
And I'm sorry, Dr. Liz, go ahead.
No, I mean, so here's your statistic for the day, because if I didn't throw some kind of numbers in there, you guys would all think I was sick. So what the heck? Here's the nerd crown for the day. Sindel, are you listening? Here's your nerd for the day. We have created and disseminated more data today than existed in the entire 14th century. What this means is there's a lot of noise. Just because the data has been created doesn't mean it's good data.
Yeah.
So sometimes going back to basics and going back to these ancient masters is a good place to start.
Yes.
More is not always better. Quality over quantity.
Yes, exactly. And you have a tiny little symbol off to your ear. Yeah, your sneaky little part of ancient wisdom in there. You're so subtle.
You're good.
But when you drop the bombs like that, if everybody knew that Melissa had the oh my goodness, I'm trying to think, the it's not a dungeon, expanding bicep.
Temple of the expanded bicep.
The temple of the expanding bicep. In the basement. That's why I said dungeon. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's wall to wall with Master Bruce Lee. So this little lady here has a very different side to her.
Yes, you do. There's a lot of woo in there if you're talking Bruce Lee.
Yeah, there's actually a whole lot of woo in there. I don't necessarily talk about it, but yes, Master Bruce and I commune in the morning, and he makes me punch harder and kick higher, and he won't let me off the leash till I do it. So
Melissa's like this superwoman person. Like she comes up from the temple of the expanded bicep, puts her glasses on, her nice work clothes for the day, and no one would know.
Well, Clark Kent put on his glasses, right?
That's it.
That's it. So I want to add this while it's still kind of fresh in my head, because this is what, and not everyone has to agree, but this is what I teach my people, that, and going back to the channels for a second, which again is another avenue to receive divine wisdom. I say, and I teach my people that we all channel, that when you have an idea, that's coming through you. That's you tapping. Not all do it at the level of an Abraham Hicks, sure, but when you're just sitting and you get a thought, oh, let me do that. That's not you having an idea. Because everything is energy. We've already talked about that. And all the wisdom of all of life exists in the ether. I can remember when I used to, when I was in Christianity and I was a preacher and I was working on a sermon, I would go, I haven't heard anybody talk about this. Oh, this is going to be so good. This is going to be so good. This is going to be life-changing. And then on Sunday, like 5 or 6 other people have preached on it. I'm like, wait, what? But it didn't let me, that was my first indication that it's all this great knowledge and wisdom is in the ether available to us, and it comes down through us as, at that level of channel. So again, an idea or, a book, where we're going to talk about Melissa's book in a second, but that stuff comes through us in a form of a channel. Again, not all of us we all do it at different levels, but I think the base level is an idea. That higher dimensional level is an Abraham Hicks. And great segue into, I'm gonna let Melissa kind of talk about her book for a second, but we talked about tapping into the energy of wise people, wise leaders. Getting Melissa's book is your opportunity to tap into that wisdom of Melissa, that energy. And as you see, there's no one that could doubt Melissa has amazing energy. So getting that book, tapping into that wisdom, it now becomes a part of who you are. And so I'm going to let Dr. Melissa just talk about her book for a few minutes.
Well, thank you. Because like I was telling you before the show, there was a time not that long ago that if you told me I was going to write a book, I would have thought you were on something. You had some good meds from somewhere, because there was no way. I didn't believe it. But I feel like it's something that I've been called to do and to put in writing. And when you feel like that, it's amazing how quickly and easily things can happen.
Yeah.
So that's what this is. This is like my handbook of how to be able to actively employ empathy to tap into EQ for better leadership. And one thing I keep stressing is that this isn't just for people who are leaders today, because how many people are out there that are going to be the leaders of tomorrow?
Yeah.
How many people are out there that are leaders in their community? How many people are out there that are leaders of their family? These are skills for any leader, even if the only person you're leading is yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's all of us. So thank you, Ollie. Yes, book the time to apply the book. Absolutely. That's the point in making it actionable. Yeah. So in this book, that's really what I'm trying to do, is to say, this is how this works. This is how you apply it. This is how you make it actionable. This is how you make everybody's lives better by doing it. And
what I really love, Melissa, is the fact that AI hasn't written your book. You've gone to the school of hard knocks to put your life experience into this, and you know, you've had that book in you all of the time. I just think there's been enough shifts in the last little while that you're ready to allow all of that genius out to the world to help people step up into their own self-leadership.
Yeah. Well, like I told James earlier too, I didn't know if anybody would listen. I mean, what I'm putting out there is this is the first time, as far as I know, that this has been put together in this way. So I didn't know if anybody would listen, or if it was just going to be like, what is this fluffy stuff? You want me to leave with this? But I decided it didn't matter, that this is the idea I had, and it was coming out one way or the other.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And you know what? It will always matter. It just won't matter to everyone, but the people who are meant to read it and meant to find it and have it shared with them, and have it walk past it in a bookstore window and think, oh, that looks interesting. You know, they're the people that matter. And and I'm so excited for you. And it's book one of more than one, which is even more exciting.
I'm planning on 7. I've already sketched out some others, so we'll see. We'll start here. But that's the plan. That's the plan, because we can talk about empathy in healthcare. We can talk about empathy in academia. We can talk about empathy in profit. We can talk about empathy between the genders. I mean, this goes on and on, because societally, we're starved for it. It starts with the leadership in these corporations, because some of it's really messed up, and these people are messing more people up. Plus, the younger generations just aren't willing to put up with it anymore. And, you know, major props to them for doing what maybe the rest of us should have been doing.
Yes.
But if something doesn't change, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So we start here, and then we take it to the world, which is just what I told Sindel. She asked what my favorite era of empathy was, and I'm like, the next one, the one we're going into, because we're going to change the whole world.
Yeah.
I'm super.
Amen to that.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about all the people that have been waiting for what they're going to find in your book, Dr. Melissa. I think Lisa touched on this earlier, but I often say, when I'm working on a class or working on a workshop or something, when I actually have the class, I now realize in that moment that someone manifested that while I'm thinking, oh, this would be a great idea for a workshop, someone was putting out the intention of needing that very thing. And so even when we think about writing a book, maybe that inspiration for writing that book was because someone, and this is what I personally believe, that someone and someone's put the intention, like, man, I just need to be able to figure this out. And Melissa goes, you know what? I think I'm going to write a book about da da da. So you're the answer or the solution to what someone has put as out there as an intention. So I'm excited about those who have been waiting for what they're going to discover in your book. Amazing.
See, I hadn't even considered that. And that's why I love talking to you guys, because you open whole new horizons that I hadn't considered before. That's fantastic.
Same. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Like, there are people, and that's, again, you're catching it in the ether. You're getting that idea. I need to do this, and it's because in response to what so many people have been needing and been maybe frustrated or so forth about. So,
Absolutely.
All right, So how are we looking for time, Lisa? You are time.
It's time to wrap up, and I just want to say, may the force be with you all.
I love it. So as we always close, as I close out my stuff, I love everyone. I appreciate everyone. We will be back. I'm not sure. I usually have up what we're going to talk about next. But as you see, we have a ton of fun. We absolutely love all of you who support us. And so we will see you next Monday. Same bat station, same bat channel. I think I should
check out the link below for Melissa's pre-sale.
Yes, pre-sale. Yes. So it doesn't actually come out till September. It's the pre-sale. But if you order it on pre-sale, you get a discount, and I will autograph all of the books that are going out on pre-sale.
Say no more.
You just won't see it till September.
And Jean Lynn, find me on LinkedIn and send me a friend request. All right, everyone, have an amazing rest of the week, and we will see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.